Welcome, race fans. We are live for our feature for the race tonight. As you can tell, Ron is not here. This is Dr. Todd in the booth, and he had some other commitments, and so he asked me to go ahead and come in and cover this for tonight. We're going to give it a shot. We're going to see what happens. Maybe I should turn on the mic or turn on the camera. There we go. Now we're back in. Welcome. We've got some interesting things going on tonight. If you've tuned in to join us for the qualifying and the race tonight, we'll let you know right now that we may be having some upload challenges today. So if it gets a little bit choppy, please recognize that's not our fault. That's probably the fault of the team that's trying to put in better internet for it. Yeah, go figure. Better internet means choppy stuff in the moment, but hey, maybe in the future it'll be really cool. We are going to have, a little bit of spin there during the qualifying. Yeah, that is an area of this track that we will probably see that happen over and over again.
Josh, that would have been amazing. So close.
So good things going on tonight. We will be picking up the action as we go through all of qualifying. But right now, let's kind of take a look and see what the boys are doing. Kyle Robinson right now with a 158. Let's go ahead and see if we can follow him for just a second. Looks like we are following him. Adam Novotny with a 158.9, so he's a 10th behind. Brandon at 159. Josh at 159. Jason at 159. Also Philip and Rich all heading. Filling out the top 7, all of those between with about 1 second between them all. So some really tight, tight field tonight. But then for those of you that have watched this in the past, that's no surprise at all, especially with that top 10. We'll see how it goes. We do have a good spread of cars. We got a Ferrari leading for a change at the moment, with a couple of representation from the BMWs and the Audis. A couple of Mercedes up there as well.
Up on qualifying here.
Got some good things going on. Looks like it's going to be a really good race for us today. At the moment, we are getting everybody ready to go into qualifying. The session is over. And we're going to have a little bit of a warm-up.
With open qualifying, if you're on a hot lap and you see a car in front of you, it is okay to flash them. If you are not on a hot lap, please move out of the qualifying car's way.
And we are watching the boys come out onto the track for qualifying. This is the out lap, so they're going to take a little easy as they come out and then get up to speed, and then their qualifying laps will start the second time around. Got a few still on pit road, but they're starting to come out, filling in. You know what we're watching now. We're on with looks like Jason Rabe that we are following at the moment. Jason in one of the Audis. This is a course, if you are familiar with it, Suzuka. This is a course that is interesting and exciting to drive. There are lots of corners. They are the kinds of corners that require absolute concentration. If you've watched this series in the past, you've heard Ron and I talk multiple times about how critical it is to maintain concentration. This track is probably one that demands more concentration than some of the others that we've done. Like Nürburgring, this is a track that if you lose concentration, if you lose focus in one corner, it can impact you and you might be able to try and recover on that one corner, but it may put you out of position for the following corner and find yourself in a very difficult situation. Jason moving through the spoon, getting ready to come down through the short straightaway. It's kind of a false straightaway with a long left-hand sweeper coming into a chicane, and then they start qualifying laps. We'll stay with Jason on his first qualifying lap and just see what comes of that. Coming around, heading for the start-finish line, and his lap is beginning. Coming into the area that we call the S's, nice and tight through that first little bit. And now starting, as you can see, these are a series of alternating corners that form an S shape, coming through there nice and clean, good speed, good control, and looks like it's the beginnings of what could be a really good lap. Let's change the angle just a little bit. Watch him from up above. This is that spoon that we were telling you about earlier. You can hear the downshift as he comes down. Has to downshift for the first turn and then downshift again to another gear, picking the right gear for that second half of the turn. That is a very technical, very difficult turn. I'm saying that. I ran off that turn in the previous race, in the JNR Craftworks race, twice, and found myself into the pits as a result of it. This turn you can almost take flat out. There you can hear they're almost not taking anything off until they come to the chicane. And then trying to move through as quickly and cleanly as we can. Coming up to the start-finish line, this is going to finish off his lap. He's trying to build up as much speed as he can, and he finishes with a 1:59. That puts him provisional pole for our sprint race. And let's go ahead and move to one of our other drivers. Let's watch, and Adam Novotny has now taken the top place with a 1:58.9. So we've got some good times coming in as we're watching the different drivers come through. We'll see if the screen decides that they want to pull anything for us. Right now it looks like we're watching Brandon Dooley. Brandon's running his lap, looks like he's trying to starting to go through the S's. Oh, and a little bit of off there. That's always a difficult area. Watching Rich Hibbs as Rich comes through the conclusion of the S's and starts into this little area. This is a fun area on the racetrack. You feel like you can really start putting on some speed, but you've got to slow down for that 90-degree right-hander, and that leads you right into another turn that comes up just afterwards. It's a technical area of the racetrack. it really requires you to be focused not just on the speed that you're carrying, but also on which gears you're setting yourself up for the next area. Here we are inside the dash. This is what it looks like from the driver's perspective. Even here in iRacing, you know, we say this is a simulator. It's not a game, it's a simulator. You get a feel for what the driver sees in the cockpit. This is very similar to the look that the drivers will see in their individual simulators. It may not have the line down the middle, but certainly it gives you an idea of what it feels like to be looking at this from the perspective of the driver. Coming through that last area before the chicane, you notice that he was almost flat out, and taking that chicane as quickly as he can in second gear. Clicking it up through and now trying to finish. Rich Hibbs with a 1:59 right now. Is he going to improve that time? He does not. It looks like he stays with a 1:59.7, so currently in 6th position. Here we're looking at Josh Beeling. He is listed as number 1 car. And we'll switch to a little bit more of an out shot. So that gives you a little bit of a view of what it's like to be inside the cockpit of one of these iRacing simulators. And for each of these racers, some of them have them set up differently, but that gives you an interesting feeling. Hopefully it helps you understand a little bit more what's going on with each of these drivers. We've got about 7 minutes left in qualifying. Right now your order is Adam Novotny on pole position with 1:58.9, and then following him all at 1:59, Josh Beeling, Jason Rabe, Kyle Robinson, Chris Springer, and Rich Hibbs all at 1:59. In fact, all of those drivers are separated by just 0.4 of a second. So what we're looking at right now is a very, very tight top 10. Dom Ford running a 2-minute flat, followed by Drew Schiller, TJ Allman, and Sean Williams, our current champion, round out your top 10. So a lot of, and all of that is within 3 seconds. In fact, from 1:58.9 to 2:01 with a 3, we're less than 3 seconds for all of the top 10 drivers. This is absolutely going to be some extremely fast racing. Getting a little bit of a shake-up now as new times come in. Keep in mind, as some of these drivers are going through, once they've got a qualifying time, that puts them somewhere on the grid, and then they have the opportunity to go through and try and improve their times. Oftentimes, the difference between doing really well, scrubbing off a little less speed in one of the corners, can make the difference between, as you can see in our lineup right now, and there goes. I couldn't see who that was, but there was somebody trying to put a little pepper on that on the beginning of those S's and going off into the grass. You can see how fast some of those things can happen. Oh, and that was really well done to save that. So you can see we've got there are a lot of things going on in these races. Let's go ahead and let's follow our number 9 car. Let's follow Drew. I'll see if I can pull him up really fast. Oh, he may not be on the race right now. There we go, and we are following Drew. He's in 10th place with that multicolored paint scheme. and we'll stay on the dynamic TV for that. Let's see what that does for us. We've been playing with some of these different camera angles. That's a good view of Drew right now. We'll go ahead and work our way through the field. Let's take a look at Dom. Oh, we got some trees in the way. Doesn't like it when we do that. Trying to find Dom. Dom Ford, the 33 car. Watching him in that purple livery with the green tires. Oh, I lied. Dom is in the black car with the teal accents. He's driving one of the Mercedes that we've got out on the course tonight. Got about 2 minutes left in qualifying. Just want to mention real quick our sponsors. Grandpa's Kitchen. Grandpa's Kitchen has been a long-time sponsor with us here at Bigg Wizurd TV. If you need gluten-free, they know gluten-free because they live gluten-free. You can buy gluten-free flour from them for cup-for-cup substitution, as well as several other package blends. Also, Stair Fittings Incorporated. If you need anything for stairs, if you need railings, if you need steps, if you need anything done for stairs, you can do that. They are a major sponsor for here at Bigg Wizurd TV, and JNR Craftworks, who sponsor our previous race series, and also are a sponsor for this race. They are an absolute wonderful shop. They do all kinds of different craft things. Somebody that really is worth taking a look at. So look up our sponsors. They keep us going, so we try to keep them going. Hopefully you can visit them and find some solutions for your needs in those areas too. We'll go out and see. Let's see if we can pick up 212. That is Greg Prochnow. Let's see if we can get behind him really quick in that purple and green paint job. Starting into the S's, looking like he's going to go really well. He's right now at 2:01. Now here's the thing that's interesting. Right now he's in 15th place on the grid, and he is only 2 seconds back on his qualifying time from the #1 time. Right now, the difference between our #1 time all the way down, let's see, we've got a total of 23 drivers, and I'm looking at trying to pull up all of our times right now. For all 23 drivers, we are looking at incredibly close times. Down through 18, you can see that we are at 2:02. Todd Schwartz, our 22nd driver. Jeff Wyatt doesn't have a time yet, but even Todd Schwartz is at 2:03, which means that 5 seconds is all that separates, as far as the qualifying times, first place from our last place driver on tonight's field. So, qualifying session is over. That is the end of qualifying. These boys will be taking a short rest, and then they will grid. We will go back to a nice look of the pole as soon as we have drivers on, and we'll see how things go. So thank you again for joining us. This is, as many of you know, if you've been watching our series in the past, we're going to run a sprint race. At the conclusion of the sprint race, the top, in this case...
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Suzuka. Last week's heat race was, let's say, a little aggressive. Let's remember to show each other respect on the track. I will be a little more strict when it comes to the penalties this week, because we can't be having anything like we did in last week's heat. Have a great race and have fun. I'm here to make it more fun, not make the job harder, though. Good luck.
And that was our race control, letting all of us know that we need to that we need to watch ourselves a little bit.
Thank you, sir.
There's our grid from a nice long shot. Right behind Jason Rabe right now, waiting for some of the rest of the drivers to come back in. And we're getting ready. And there we go. The heat race is underway. As you see people starting to spread themselves out and try and figure out who's going to take the lead on that first turn. That is Josh coming in through the first turn, number 1 on the pole position in that Audi going through. We've got and already there's some shaking up. Kyle Robinson moving into position. Brandon Dooley right now currently in 3rd with Adam Novotny in 4th. Emmett Lindquist in 5th, Drew Schiller in 6th place, Philip Scott, Dom Ford 7th and 8th, and Chris Springer and Rick Wishon rounding out our top 10 as we get our first lap underway. Everybody pretty close. Nose to tail, not too much distance separating everybody, with something that we kind of expect at the beginning of this, especially with lap times, qualifying times as close as they were. Oh, and somebody goes off. Let's see if we can go back to get that incident. Doesn't look like we can rewind that. I apologize. Without the technical wizardry of Bigg Wizurd here, of Ron himself, it's a little tough for me to stay on track of those, and I apologize. But already it looks like the course has collected at least one driver, and we're now watching as some of our other drivers are moving through. Right now we're watching... oh, and there's another one that went off! The 66 car of... let's see, the 66 car... Jeff Peters, JP, that was in an earlier race with us, going off. I didn't see if there was any contact on that or not. But that was certainly a little bit of a challenge for him. Oh, and there's been some more. Some more into the wall. This is exactly what race control asked us to be careful of in our first in the heat race, is the aggressiveness. I'm not sure if there was any contact on any of those. Hopefully there wasn't. It's just a result of trying to move through the course as aggressively as possible. We'll see how things shape up. There's the crash that we saw. Oh, 83 car. I'm trying to learn how to use this feature for going back and taking a look at things. That was the 83 car. You'll notice that he was off track. He pulled off and then held himself in place so that he was able to be right where we needed him to be. Right now, riding with... let's see, it's jumping around a little bit. We're going to go ahead and select to go to the leader. Oh, and we've got another car that was off. Folks, I'm sorry. I know you're used to Ron giving much better commentary. It's all I can do to try and watch the screen, try and talk, and try and use the controls. Any one of the two, I'm pretty good with. As soon as you ask me to do two of the three, I start running into problems. And if you ask me to do all three, like I am tonight, obviously you understand why Ron is the wizard. I'm the color commentary normally, but hopefully we'll give you something to watch. I'm enjoying the ride just as much as you are. So we'll see what comes of it. And stay with who we've got for the most part. Right now, we're riding with Brandon Dooley. He is in second position right now on this particular heat race. Coming down that front straight. Right now, Josh has the fastest lap of the race. And Josh is just in front of Brandon. Right now we are washing Josh in the number one with that teal black and white Audi moving through. There's some a little bit of wiggle from Brandon as he tries to chase him down, going off the course just a little bit, getting his wheels into the grass. Let's go back a little bit and see how things are shaping up a little further back. We'll take a look at things from Adam's perspective. Adam Novotny in that purple and black car. He is in third place right now, trying to see if he can put a move on Brandon, but it looks like Brandon's holding him off quite nicely as they come up through the straightaway into that left-hand sweeper that takes him into the hairpin. It's a very tricky section of the course. You're flat out all the way up through that left-hand sweeper, and then as you go into the hairpin, you're down into second and sometimes even first gear, trying to make all of that stick. Looks like Adam is trying to put his nose out, but he's just not able to get a good enough run on Adam. Adam successfully holding off that second spot. We're going to dip back just a little bit. Let's go back and look at let's go back and see if we can pick up some of the action for Chris Springer and Drew Schiller. Chris in the 56 car as he's coming around through right now the end of the S's. He's also driving an Audi today. Similar look. He's teammates with Josh Beeling. They've got a similar look, but where Josh had the teal and black, he's got the yellow and black on the Audi. Coming down through and heading to just that treacherous little hairpin. And it looks like Drew really wants to put a move on him, but just can't quite get the speed together to be able to make that pass actually work. Chris doing a wonderful job of holding him off, keeping it nice and clean, but keeping it honest as well. Looks like Drew is going to try and see if he can close some distance again. Dom Ford just a little bit behind them. Dom a little bit of a newcomer to our series, but doing extremely well, racing very well with the rest of the competitors. Chris is currently about a second off the pace from Josh Beeling's fastest lap of the race. So, a second in these cars at these speeds, it's not an awful lot of space. These cars close space very quickly and move through the course very quickly. So, a second behind, there's a little bit of a gap, but it's from the racer's perspective, it probably doesn't feel as large as it may look from our perspective here. Looks like somebody's on pit road. That's the number 15 car. Looks like he's come off and started back onto the road. We'll go back and catch up with our leader for a moment. Looks like it thinks that Brandon is the leader. When I clicked on leader, it pulled me up to Brandon rather than to Josh. Let's see if we can find Josh. There's Josh. There's our leader. Working our way through. Josh Beeling currently 159, still has the fastest lap of the race. Brandon Dooley, Adam Novotny, Emmett Lindquist, rounding out our top 4. Down to Chris Springer for top 5. Drew Schiller, Dom Ford, Rick Wishon, Joe Fierro, and Michael Mooney. Michael also raced in the earlier race with us, so did some really fine racing in that race. In fact, he won. So tonight, it's interesting to see him go from having won that race to now being a competitor in this one. Let's go back and see if we can catch. We'll go back a little ways and see if we can. Looks like there's a battle heating up for 9th place. Let's go back and find Mooney. Mooney in that Ford GT. Joe Fierro right on his tail, getting ready to put a move on him, trying to see if he can get around him. Let's see if he's going to make it stick this time. Coming around, and no, he can't quite get it. Almost is able to make the pass, but Mooney's able to hold him off. Going into the S's, looks like these two have quite a battle shaping up for that 9th spot. Not a lot of people driving the Ford. Mooney, after winning in the last race, Mooney said that he didn't want to hear anybody bad-mouthing the Ford for at least 2 weeks. And I'm not sure we're going to give him that kind of that kind of respect, but certainly it is something that that he deserves respect for having successfully won that race. Right behind Joe is Sean Williams. Sean also raced in our last race, did extremely well, and we can see that group is still very, very tight right here. Joe really wants to put a move on Mooney, staying very, very close, just out of reach of being able to put a pass on him, but certainly keeping Mooney moving very, very quickly, moving through what we call the spoon. First then was set a downshift, then another downshift, and then sometimes at one more, down from 6th gear down to 4th, sometimes into 3rd, to try and make all of that work, and then trying to rocket up the hill to get into the big left-hand sweeper into that chicane before the start-finish line. Got about 5 minutes left in this heat race. It's looking more and more like Mooney's going to be able to hold that. But right behind them, Jason Rabe, Sean Williams, Joe Fierro, all of the... Oh, and it looks like Joe, just almost making that pass work this time. Let's see if he can put get a little bit of a draft on Mooney down that straightaway. Crossing the start-finish line. Oh, just almost able to make that work, but just can't quite get it to close down. This may be the kind of nose-to-tail racing that we see all night long on this course. The thing that will make the difference is the concentration and any kind of gap in concentration that will result in an accident or some kind of an incident on course. Oh, and Mooney is off into the grass. Like we said, concentration in this is everything. So that allows for a little bit of change. Oh, and then some more change. Let's see if we can. Oh, and Mooney's over trying to straighten it out. Jeff right behind him. Mooney's gathered himself back together, but by now that the damage in that situation is done. Joe Fierro takes the 9th position, and Sean Williams, following close on, making success of that, takes the 10th position as well. Mooney drops down to 11th, and Jeff Wyatt just behind him in 12th. That's not going to make Mooney happy. Like we said before, it's all about concentration on this track, and just a little mental error can make all the difference in the world. He's got a long way to go now to catch back up. Let's go ahead and jump back to the 48 car of Joe Fierro and see if Sean Williams is going to try and put a move on Joe. Doesn't look like he quite has the power to do so yet. He's got that Audi moving nicely, but he's still back a couple of seconds. So it's going to take him a couple of seconds or so to be able to close that gap and see if he can put a move. He's only got 2 minutes left. 2 minutes is about how long it takes to go around this track. Right now, with 1 minute 59 being our fastest lap of the race, 2 minutes is going to get him. It's going to get him around one more time. Maybe they'll start that last lap and chase down the checkered flag. But really, this is closing in toward the end. Let's go ahead and check out our race leader. Go to Josh. Josh has been able to stretch out a little bit of a lead here. And it looks like he's going to be very comfortable in that number 1 position. Now keep in mind, number 1 position is points on the line for the series. In fact, the top 5 points in these heat races receive quite a few points. So everybody wants the points. But once we finish the race, the positions will flip, and that will actually put, if things stay the same way that they are right now, that'll put Sean Williams on the pole for the feature race. Let's go ahead and ride along with Josh on his final lap. He's coming through the chicane. Let's see what it says if we go on his nose for this race. Oh, I don't know about you, but I have a hard time watching that. Let's maybe we do this instead. Let's do an F1 view. There are a couple of people in the pits, probably from some contact. Oh, and looks like there's a problem there for Josh. I wonder what happened. Josh letting Brandon go by. I'm not sure what was going on, what happened there. And that was the conclusion. What we saw there was cross of the start-finish line. When Josh allowed him to go by, my apologies. I didn't have information in front of me that said that that was the checker flag. So those of you that are watching, I apologize. We'll see how things go as we move forward. So now we've got the race completed, the heat race completed. Got a couple of seconds here, a couple of minutes for the drivers to stand up, to relax a little bit, maybe get something to drink, go to the bathroom, something of that nature. And now, as you see, they're switching the top 10 and putting all of those top 10 drivers in a different layout for the rest of the race, or for the start of the feature race. The boys will be gridding in just a few moments. and we'll wait for them to grid. We'll give you a minute or two to just kind of relax. This is a track that a lot of the drivers from the JNR Craftworks series, we've mentioned some of those, come back every week for both races, both the JNR Craftworks series and here for East to West Racing in the feature race. It's an opportunity for newer drivers. The JNR Craftworks series is an opportunity for newer drivers or less experienced drivers to get up to speed and be able to enjoy iRacing without necessarily getting themselves in a situation where they're holding up faster drivers or causing incidents on the track. I say that because I did that about 18 months ago when I started iRacing. I was racing with some of the rest of these guys, and they will tell you I was slow, I was in the way, and I caused problems. So we set up the JNR Craftworks series as an opportunity for racers like me, maybe like you if you're watching this, to come in and join and start getting your wheels underneath you, so to speak, and then get yourself in a position where you truly can be competitive and start racing with some of the other races and some of the other leagues that are going on.
All right, guys, welcome to the feature. Let's try to get through try and get through turn 1 nice and clean. Have some good clean racing. Good luck. Have a good time.
Car 88 is Crate Tech Net Apex.
I'll take a look at that. No action will be taken.
Somebody just told me that I've been talking this whole time and it's been muted. I am a silly human being. And that's why we want Ron here. I was probably doing my best commentary during that time that we were watching all of that, and it wasn't even muted. That's just a problem. Ah! Well, that's what we get, folks. That's live television for you, and that's why we want Ron, the Bigg Wizurd of Bigg Wizurd TV, here more frequently than we want me alone. Hopefully I was giving you some good things to watch. Sorry that you didn't hear more of that commentary. Right now we're on with Josh Beeling. As I was saying, the one thing that I was saying is after we watched all of the battle off pit road and watching some of the racers as they were coming through, we're kind of watching these intervals settle in, and now people are pretty much, this may be the way that this race ends, because there's not a lot of opportunity here for people to change things. Looking back, for instance, at some of the closer intervals, Philip Scott and Adam Novotny, they've got a little bit of a battle going on, and maybe Adam can make something happen. He's less than a second now off of Philip Scott, and that would be for position of 6. But it looks like some of the rest of this is pretty well solidified. As long as the drivers can keep their attention going and keep their concentration going, better than I was doing on the broadcast, this is probably the way our race is going to shape up. Chris Springer in first position, followed by Kyle Robinson in second, Brandon Dooley in third, Josh Beeling in fourth place, Jason Rabe in fifth, Philip Scott in sixth, whom we're following right now with Adam Novotny right behind him, Emmett Lidquist, Rich Hibbs, and Michael Mooney rounding out our top 10. We're going to go back and check out this battle that's going on between Alex and Gray Welch. Gray trying to make a move on Alex as they come through the hairpin. He just can't quite close the distance enough to be able to then put his nose out into fresh air and be able to then make that pass stick. Coming around through what we call the spoon, but it looks like, and it looks like Sean Williams had gone off the track. We completely missed that, but as a result of that, Sean had to slow down, try and recover, and get himself back on the track. That allows both Alex and Gray to pass him, and now puts Sean in position where Ryan Fry, may be coming up on him and trying to see what he can do. Oh, a little bit of sideways action from Alex. Coming in a little too hot. He controls it well enough to be able to keep in front of Gray. But that's the kind of thing that as we come to the last 3 laps of this race, those kinds of mental errors can cause all kinds of challenges as you're moving things through. Watching this tight group move through. This is really where some of the best action on the track is going on right now. But also up here, we've been watching off and on Drew Schiller, and Drew is behind Joe Fierro. You'll remember we were watching Joe Fierro at the beginning of this race. Had a little bit of a difficult start, got himself sideways and then off the track, and has had to fight his way all the way back up. Joe's in 12th position, P12. Certainly not where he wants to be, but it looks like if he plays his cards right, and can hold off Todd Schwartz, he will have moved up nicely. Excuse me, holds off Drew Schiller. Drew is just, and it looks like Drew's going to make that pass on him, and yeah, Joe's going to drop back to 13th. Maybe he'll be able to fight that back, maybe not. There's not a lot of time left. Only about 3 laps or so maybe a little bit difficult. Haven't talked much about Drew, but obviously he's running a decent race. They're a little bit behind. They're about 11 seconds behind the group with Mooney and Rich Hibbs and Emmett Lindquist. So really not going to challenge anything except their race right now. And that's really kind of the way it is all over the course right now. We look at Philip Scott. Philip Scott right now and Adam Novotny. There's nobody else around them. It's just the two of them. And so this is going to be one of those battles that is all about, the two of them. Can Philip be able to hold things in front? Is Adam going to be able to put something on him? It's a little bit of a challenge in those places. Philip, I think, is racing the lone Mercedes now in our field tonight. I could be wrong on that. But I believe he is the lone Mercedes now, since one of the others dropped out earlier on in the race. Another place where we have a close battle going on actually is first and second. Kyle Robinson now trying to put the pressure on Chris Springer to try and see if he can take that first position away. Remember, Kyle was back several positions. He was down somewhere around 6th position earlier on. In fact, I believe it says he started in 13th position. So this is a huge move for Kyle Robinson to come up, but not necessarily surprising. Kyle has the fastest lap of the race at 1:59. Just really trying to fight this. We're going to stay here and watch this as we finish out. We're on the last lap of the second to last lap of the race. This is the 20th lap. We're going to stay with these two all the way to the end to see if Kyle can put some kind of move on Chris Springer and take away that first position. Coming down into the hairpin. He kind of wants to get his face out in front of there. Just can't quite make it close down. They're going to follow that through. Take it over to the spoon. Here's another prime passing opportunity. If he can pull it off, it's a tough place to pass because you're shifting so many gears. Just can't quite make it stick. They're seeing lapped traffic. There is a car in front of them, but that is lapped traffic. That's the 74 of Rick Wishon. So that's going to be the first. It looks like as they pass and Rick lets them pass, that's the first time that we're seeing somebody get lapped on this race. So this has been a really good race. Going through the hairpin, they're coming up on the start-finish line. This is going to give them, I believe this is going to give them the white flag. I lied. That's the checker. Oh, nope, I think I'm incorrect. That is the white flag. This is lap 21. So this is the end of this race. They are nose to tail going through the S's for one last time. They do have the 19 car of Gray Welch in front of them. There's a possibility that 19 car will slow them down, will slow Chris down just enough that that Kyle will be able to put put a move on him enough to move forward. Going over that little pimple, getting a little bit of bump on the car. He's using every ounce of this racetrack that he possibly can to try and move that forward. Coming down into the hairpin, he just can't quite make it stick. Trying to get his nose into clean air, but just can't quite make it work. Chris Springer trying to stretch out as much as he can. He's got about a half a second in front. That might be enough if he can hold on to it through the spoon here. It looks like he's going to. It looks like this is going to be Chris's race now to lose. Kyle he can close in, but he just can't quite finish it. So as they go up that left-hander the last time, and then move into the hairpin, this is going to be the last up. Oh, and Chris Springer loses it. He loses it, overcooks it just a little bit in that left-hander, going through the hairpin. Kyle Robinson pulls it out, moves in front. And Kyle Robinson is going to come across in P1. What an incredible finish. Certainly not the finish that Chris Springer wanted, but a fun one to watch. And I'm glad that I was still talking and that you actually could hear me. At least we got the best part of the race for tonight. What an incredible evening of racing. Congratulations to Kyle Robinson, Chris Springer, Brandon Dooley, our top 3. Those are our podium. And then rounding out our top 10, Josh Beeling, Jason Rabe, Philip Scott, Adam Novotny, Emmett Lindquist, Rich Hibbs, and Mooney comes in 10th place, rounding out our top 10 places. Moving on from there, after Mooney, we've got Greg Prochnow in 11th, Drew Schiller in 12th, Joe Fierro 13th, Alex Good in 14th, Ryan Fry in 15th, Todd Schwartz, then Jeff Peters 16th and 17th, Sean Williams and Gray Welch 18th and 19th, Rick Wishon finishing out on 20th, the last of our racers that were on the course, and the others had left earlier. What an incredible race here at Suzuka. I know Ron normally tries to jump in and try and talk to some of the drivers. Since Ron isn't here tonight, and since I'm not as familiar with the interface as Ron is, we're not going to do that. But I'm sure that there's some celebration going on in some of the different places. So thanks everybody for being with us tonight. Hopefully it's been an enjoyable evening for you. I know it's been both enjoyable for me and very, very frustrating. I'm sure it's been a little frustrating for those of you that were watching in silence for about 15 minutes. I apologize for that. But hopefully it will wind up having been a good evening for all of you. Thank you very much for joining us here at Bigg Wizurd TV. And again, on behalf of our sponsors, Grandpa's Kitchen, they know gluten-free because they live gluten-free. Stair Fittings Incorporated, everything that you need for stairs in your house to set that up and make it look beautiful and functional. And JNR Craftworks, if you need something crafted, they can probably figure out how to do it. On behalf of all of them at Bigg Wizurd TV, I will say good night. And remember, if you want to race, don't do it on the roads. Get into iRacing. Take your car to the track, get a helmet, go to the track, race on your track. But if you don't want to do that, come race with us on iRacing at East West Racing. We have a wonderful time. We'd love to have more people join us all the time. It's a good time, an enjoyable opportunity. Have a great night, rubber side down.